welcome to E-Chat with the energetic EJ. I'm so happy to be here again today. How are you doing, guys? Did you miss me? I missed you. Anyways, it's so good to be back on E-Chat this week. How are you doing? How has your week been? Okay? All right. So, remember now, you know how we do it on E-Chat is about sharing inspiring story. But while at it, we also get to learn from the people who are sharing their stories, right? All right, so today on the show, I'm going to be talking to somebody, also a friend. I mean, by now you would know or you would agree with me that it's like, Ejiro is like, you have plenty of friends, yes? Yes, I do have many friends. I mean, well, acquaintances as well. But yeah, this one is like a friend and a brother to me. His name is Jones The IKOM Boy, International Kingdom of Money. That's what it means, yes? But also, Ikom is a place in Nigeria, from the south part of Nigeria. So Jones the IKOM Boy is the person I'm going to be talking with today. And so before I bring him on board, let me just quickly read out his profile. Jones the IKOM Boy is a Nigeria-born, Dubai-based international singer and producer. Previously signed to his then record label Greenlight Recordings, Jones the IKOM Boy joined a dynamic roster of MENA, that is Middle East and Africa-based artists. Jones has performed alongside international artists such as Wiz Khalifa, J. Cole, Tovlo, Enrique Iglesias, Big Sean, Sean Paul, and many more. You see, he's a superstar, guys. All right, so Jones the IKOM Boy is one of the new Nigerian producers that has worked with Universal Music and was recently reposted as one of the final contestants in Nicki Minaj Megatron Challenge on Instagram, in 2019. Jones is currently based in Dubai, working on international collaborations and perfecting his urban Afro sound. I know that's one of his, slang that we know him for. So I'm going to be bringing on board shortly Jones the IKOM Boy. Don't go anywhere. Sit back, relax, take a cup of tea, a cup of water, a cup of coffee, whatever works for you, and I'll be right back with my guest. Don't go anywhere. All right, guys, my guest is here, the IKOM Boy, International Kingdom of Money, hey, international superstar. I know. All right, guys, so I have my guest here. And when I was doing this introduction, I didn't remember to mention what we're going to be talking about today. So to sort of give you like a framework of what we'll be talking about. So today we're talking about IKOM's journey. Let me just say Jones. I mean, IKOM's a stage name, yeah, but Jones' journey to self-acceptance. I mean, this is going to be deep. So guys, just be prepared to get some deep stuff. I mean, this guy, let me not... No, it's not about, I'm not trying to sweet talk him, right? It's not because he's here, so that his head will swell, no. But I've known IKOM for a while now, I've known Jones for a while now, and I know that, forget all the whatever paparazzi you see online, this guy is deep, right? And he's a child of God. That's one I can tell you for sure. So we're going to be talking about his journey to self-acceptance, all right? So I'm going to start with the question. If you're going to tell us about you, I mean, we're talking about your journey to self-acceptance. How will you describe you before you started accepting who you are now?
I would describe myself as sort of like a reflection of everyone's perspective, I would describe myself as someone who had to be a particular person in front of a particular group of people. In front of my parents, a different person; in front of my friends, a different person. And the idea I had of myself was sort of like a compendium of how I perceived that everyone accepted me. And so when I got to when I got to a point in my life when it felt like everyone abandoned me, I literally lost sight of myself to the extent where I would look in the mirror and not recognize myself.
Wow.
So Yes. And that's what led me, by the grace of God, towards this part of, you know what, who are you, you know? Who really are you, man? Who are you? When there's no one to mirror off of, can you be yourself? And if so, who are you? Yes.
So can you shed light, some more light on what specifically, or what are some instances that you would say made you feel so? What are some instances that made you feel that way, that you had to reflect off people to say, okay, this is how this person perceives me, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to be like this to this person. This is how this person thinks of me. I'm going to be like this to this person. What was that specific thing that made you feel at some point everybody deserted you, to now bring you to that point of realizing that, seriously, I really don't even know who I am?
Well, it happened in 2017, towards the end of 2017. Well, as some people may know, I was in a record label, in a music group, and what I considered to be success was happening to me at that point in time. You know, I had a lot of attention, and my life was very busy. You know, there was 4 guys in the group, 2 managers, and we just in the group chat all the time. Oh, there's this show, there's that show, and when you're in the entertainment industry, it's sort of like a dilemma. I don't know. You want to be yourself, but at the same time, you want to be who people perceive you to be. And that's why in one of my songs, I said, you know, I want to be Insane, but everyone prefers Jones. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And so what happens is you learn how to be a good actor, and you fall into these roles, and you fall into all these, you know, these characters that people look at you as and want you to be. To no fault of anyone, to be honest with you. It's not like I'm pointing fingers at people and saying, oh, you know, it's just, that's how they saw you, and you didn't know yourself, and then you became something else. And then you're something else to the girl you like, or to the girl you're dating, and you know, you start to develop some sort of pride and some sort of ego, like, and then all of a sudden, when that girl decides to go to somebody else, you cannot believe it, you can't handle it, you can't take it, because, you know, it shatters, yes, it shatters sort of like, you know, like a perception. It shatters the mirror, the mirror of, okay, this is how this girl looks at me, so I am this guy. And then when your record label decides to drop you, and then you don't have the finance to put yourself out there anymore, and you start to lose friends, and people no longer talk to you like they used to, and now you have to struggle a bit, and it sort of shatters your you know, another perspective of yourself, which is like I'm the boss, and you know, no one can touch me, and you know, everything just broken. And then when you go back home, and then your parents or your family who you expect in unconditional love and support have reached their limit, you know, and they're not in a position where they can offer you that kind of support anymore. That sort of shatters the feeling of family security, and or at least I have somewhere to go to. And 2017 was just a big shock for me, where everything around me just collapsed, and I found myself in just like this dark hole of nothingness. It was very confusing. Yes. And that's when I realized that, you know, that's when people start to get, you know, depressed and suicidal, you know. And I remember saying to myself that if I can beat this, nothing will be impossible for me. Yes, that was the strongest battle I had to fight. People look at me and say, "Bro, how are you so strong?" Like, I already fought the strongest battle. You don't even understand. Yeah, when
I
you
love the sound of that.
yes, and so that's when I realized, you know what, I have to. I had an identity crisis. I didn't know that's what it was, but you know, when I started to pray and I started talking to God, and I realized I had an identity crisis, and I had to deal with that. Yes.
So when you now discovered that, okay, this is it, I have identity crisis, I don't know who I am, what was that journey like for you to now saying, who is Jones now?
Man, I will tell you now, it was tough. Listen, I'm telling you, I don't know if there's anything more difficult than that in life. if someone is sick here and they're sick and they have a sickness, you can get well, or if you're fighting, that sickness kills you. That's it. But when you're fighting with your mind, when you're fighting with yourself, you feel like you betrayed yourself. You feel like, man, there's no word to explain it. It's just terrible. But the journey was long and hard. And I remember that I tried for 50 days to wake up in the morning and write something, just write about, just to get my thoughts out of my head and put them on a piece of paper so I could look at them and understand. I couldn't speak. I couldn't do anything. I felt like the whole world was against me. And then one day I was going to the grocery store and I just said to myself, I said, listen, the only way to move on is to move on. There's no other way. Start with one step, put one foot in front of the other.
In front of the other.
Yes. And that's where everything just sort of gone, with a lot of prayer and by the grace of God. I can say I'm at a place mentally right now where I do have a solid foundation, a solid identity of who I am. And I found that, for me personally, I found that identity in God, in Jesus, the perfect person to look up to and to mirror yourself. So you can live your life properly without any stress, without fear of disappointing this person, because you cannot please people,
Sure.
The girls want you to be a certain way. Your parents want you to be a certain way. Your fans want you to be a certain way. And God is just like, bro, you're cool.
Indeed. Like, I love you the way you are. I made you that way anyways.
Yeah. And it took me a while. It took me a while to get to that point, I tell you. So for anyone who's watching this and you think it's something that happened overnight, no. We're talking about 2 years of everyday, serious, severe battle. I mean, I'm talking about anxiety attacks, panic attacks. I'm talking about all of that, the whole 9 yards, not having anything to eat, where to sleep, all of these, fighting with yourself. And it's a long and gruesome battle, but if you're on the right track, you will definitely win. I'm telling you now. You just need to start.
So could you highlight one or two things specifically that you do? Something that if somebody who is watching you right now is in that kind of space of, oh my God, I don't know who I am. The expectations from me is just too much. I can't handle this. What are some specific steps that you can share with that person that they can take to get them out of that space, out of that dark hole right now?
First of all, the first thing, understand this. Please understand this. When I say you are not special, I don't mean you're not, there's nothing interesting about you. I mean, the struggle is common to everybody. It's just that some people have a different support system to others. They have a better support system. And so the depression or whatever you want to call it does not really hit them that hard. So what I would say to you is this: when you find yourself in that situation, the first thing to do is say, okay, yeah. So the first and the most important thing to do is just accept it, man. Just be like, okay, this is happening, but it will end, because it will end. There's an end point for it. That's the first thing. And then you have to take steps. You have to take steps to the battle in the mind is the toughest battle anyone will ever fight. I'll tell you now, but it doesn't mean
it can be won. Yeah.
Yes. You see, it depends on how you approach it. I learned something that when something hits you, the first 5-10 minutes of how you approach it determines how it's going to affect your life. Like, I recently lost my best friend. Sudden death, he just died,
Wow.
And then when that happened to me, I was just sat down and just devastated. But there was just something in my spirit just telling me that, the way you handle this situation, the first 5 to 10 minutes, determines if you're going to fall into a depression, if you're going to process it. So what I do when I find myself in that type of situation, the first thing I talk to God. I don't talk to anyone. I don't call my mom. I don't call my dad. Nobody. I talk to God. I tell him, man, please make this situation make sense to me. Let it make sense to me and let me go through the right grieving process. And this guy was someone who was closer to me than any family member.
Wow.
if I hadn't gotten to that point in my life, in my mentality, I don't think I'd be here right now. I don't know how I would have handled that, you know. That brings me to my second point, man. You gotta learn how to talk to God, man. I don't care who you are, what you do, or what you have, or how much you have, or how wise you think you are, bro. Listen, when the real attacks come and when the real life situations hit you, even if you have $10 billion in the account, at that point it won't matter. When you don't have hope, you don't have a reason for living, you don't know yourself. So the second point is just humble yourself and pray, man. I don't like when I see people, you know, nowadays, the way they handle God, like they don't need him. I don't know. Like God wants you to be happy. He wants you to enjoy your life. He wants you to he made everything for you, you know. You know, he wants you to be happy, relax. But you know, can you at least acknowledge him? You know, I don't like, and that's why a lot of people get into problems and situations that they never come out of because they refuse to acknowledge that there's a higher power.
There's a higher power
Who can actually help them. Those are the two steps: acceptance and then talk to God. Once you talk to God, you will know what to do. I'm not going to tell you what next after that. You will know exactly.
So if I hear you clearly, you're saying here that, yeah, after accepting that, okay, this is the reality of what it is. Like it is, no need to deny it. The next thing is to talk to God. But are you also saying in that sense that, what if I don't know who God is? How do I handle that?
Well, that's the cool thing about God is you don't need to understand him in his entirety. You can never really understand him, but you can always reach him at the point of truth, you know, at the point of sincerity, and just be like, because see, I can give you my steps. You can try my steps and they will not work. I can tell you, I wrote for 50 days and I worked out, I exercised, and it might not work for you. It's different. There's a problem. People try to stick to a routine and they get to a particular point, it fails them, and then they say, "Oh, I'm gonna give up. You know, this is not gonna work." You know what I mean? So it's different for everyone. You can. The thing I like about God is He can meet you anywhere, man. Just at the point of truth. Just be honest and acknowledge Him and just call on Him, because there's certain things that even doctors cannot help you do. I'm telling you guys the truth now.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. So one last thing before we just round this off to say, so what if you are to reintroduce yourself now after going through all of this, if you are to reintroduce yourself now, how would you introduce yourself?
Listen, I have a name and I have a stage name, but I know who I truly am. Do you understand me? I am personally, when I talk to myself, I call myself Nse bin Yahweh. That is Nse, the child of God. You know what I mean? Yes. And I was talking to my mom the other day, and she told me your actual name is Nse Oreko, so that means our Heavenly Father. So I was actually named after God Himself, and I didn't know that until a few months ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So for me, I don't know what works for anyone else. For me, there is no greater purpose in life or any greater knowledge than, you know, than connecting with your creator. People think that means you have to be a perfect person. No. But you must have a relationship with your creator. I don't care who you are, what kind of music you make, or how much you have in your bank account. You don't have a relationship with your creator, you are living in the biggest lie and self-deceit and pride that, you know, will ultimately destroy you one day. I'll tell you the truth now. So me, personally, who I am, I'm a child of God. And then I tell you I'm a child of God, and then everything comes next. I'm not afraid or ashamed to say it to anybody. Doesn't mean you should see me tomorrow and say, that's not your business. What I do with my life.
I was going to ask you now, like, how do you reconcile it? Oh my, what happened to your video? I was going to ask, like, how do you reconcile? How do you deal with people saying, how can you call yourself a child of God? And this is the kind of music you're doing. How do you reconcile that?
And because people who say that kind of thing, they have a perception of God. They don't have a relationship with Him, because
Mm.
if they did in the first place, they wouldn't ask that question. I can do whatever I want. You understand me? As long as I know how to go and talk to my dad, that's not your problem. Uh, and really and truly, I want that for every single person on earth, man, because the world just needs love right now. And when you see people fighting and people this happening, people are afraid, everyone just needs love. Love to me is the highest frequency, the highest vibration. When you tune into the frequency of love, it's freedom, man. It's
Mm.
freedom. You don't feel the need to strive or to quarrel or to fight with anyone. And that is the only prayer, one of the only few prayers I pray every day is, God, don't let anybody bring me down with bitterness or hatred.
Let your love permeate my heart.
Yeah,
Mm.
because that just interrupts your life, man. That just interrupts the flow. That interrupts, you see that thing that people say, oh, I can
Mm.
do it, just put your mind into it. That interrupts the God in you that allows you
Even
to
think.
make impossibilities. Yes. Do you
Mm.
understand? So that's my thing. And there's nothing anyone can say about me that will move me or shake me, because
You know who you are, man. That is such a fantastic, place to be right now. And I'm happy for you that, you've gone through this, dark, dark side of your life. And now it
yes,
feels like you are in the light and you see the light and you are able to say,
yes,
"What I know who I am. It's not who I am is not even a function of what I do. I just
yeah,
know who I am. I am a child of God, and that's
that's it.
that's that's what it is. Every other thing
That's
I do is from that place of knowing that I am God's child and I have a relationship with Him and I can always talk to Him. And even if
yes,
even if I do the wrong thing, because I talk to Him, He's able to tell me, "Hey, boy, what are you doing?
mhm,
Change that style. I don't like it." And that's what
yes.
being in a relationship with God
That's
really
important.
is
he,
about.
he works on he works on your motives. Your motives begin to change. The things you do don't necessarily change, but what actually starts to change is your motive. Why are you doing something? Why are you talking to someone? Why are you reaching out to people? What
Mm,
do you really want? What I mean? Yeah. So
thank you.
people always think you gotta be perfect to
No,
it's not.
nobody's perfect except him. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Jones. Thank you for availing your time to be here. Thank you for sharing your story with us. I really wish you all the best. If we want to connect with you, how do we do that?
Well, my Instagram is the IKOM boy, the.ikom.boy.
Okay.
Thank you for having me, EJ. This was a very amazing, wonderful session.
Thank you
I
so
like what you're
much.
doing, with
Thank
you,
you.
and I hope all the best for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you so much. So this would be the end of, yeah, I
Oh
know.
no!
I know. Thank you guys for being on this show today. I really do hope that you've learned one or two things from Jones the IKOM Boy. Go follow him. He's an amazing artist, an amazing producer. If you need anything music, especially Afro, hip hop, things like that, is your guy to go to. You can check him out on Instagram. You check him out, you know what I'm talking about. It's good. It's good. So like it's good. It's good. It's good like that. So I mean, I don't roll with ungood people. I roll with great people, man.
Oh, good. EJ!
All right, guys. I'm gonna see you next week with another guest. Until that time comes, remain awesome and please find out who you are and stand your ground so that nothing will shake you. All right. I'll see you next week. Bye.
I know. Bye bye.